guys, so today I am going to be talking about Pretty Little Liars. I had originally planned to do a video talking about the show last week whenever the second half of season 7 premiered. However, I didn't really feel like I had a lot to say about that episode, and so I didn't make the video. Now that the second episode has aired, I feel like I have a little bit more to talk about. And yeah, so let's just jump right into it. Although before we do, I honestly have to say that I'm kind of surprised that there hasn't been a lot to talk about in the last couple of episodes. Like, literally, I haven't really been shocked at anything. I've kind of just been sitting there being like, this is fine. This is like, you know, a really average kind of laid back episode of Pretty Little Liars. Like, so far nothing really bad has happened, and that's kind of worrying when there's only 8 episodes left of the season. Like, if I just compare these last few episodes of Pretty Little Liars in comparison to the last episodes of The Vampire Diaries, they're completely different. And Vampire Diaries is, I mean, it is kind of like a really drama-filled, action-packed kind of show. But like, compared to Pretty Little Liars, it's like a different thing. But I feel like the Vampire Diaries approach to the last episodes were amazing. Like, that was the kind of thing that I need for Pretty Little Liars. Like, with Pretty Little Liars, they're like taking their time. It's all sweet. There's nothing really happening going on in Rosewood. But with Vampire Diaries, literally, the world as they knew it was gonna end. Like, Vampire Diaries just like was kind of thinking like, okay, the show's gonna end, and we're gonna make sure that it ends with a bang. Like, that was Vampire Diaries, and I love that. Whereas with Pretty Little Liars, I just feel like they're not doing that, and they should be, because that's what they promised us. Like, Pretty Little Liars promised us this huge, like, big thing. Like, there was gonna be answers every episode, and like, AD was gonna be like super threatening and stuff, but like, I'm not getting that, and that's not okay. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. It's like, Vampire Diaries was like a great ending. Pretty Little Liars is so far not looking like the best. And I don't really want to compare the shows because, like I said, they're literally 2 different things. But if you were to compare like the endings of shows, like Vampire Diaries is way up here and Pretty Little Liars is kind of somewhere down here. Like, I need them to step up their game. And so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. If anything, I guess this kind of reminds me of maybe Gossip Girl when it ended. I feel like that's the only real, like, close comparison I can get with, like, Pretty Little Liars and Gossip Girl, because, you know, in Gossip Girl, you're waiting for the reveal of who Gossip Girl was, and now with Pretty Little Liars, you're, like, waiting for the reveal of AD. And if I'm honest, the reveal of Gossip Girl was kind of disappointing, so if Pretty Little Liars is the same thing, I'll be upset. But yeah, anyway, I know that we're still in the early stages. We still have 8 episodes left to make this better, not to mention a 2-hour finale, so, you know, things might pick up for Pretty Little Liars, but, you know, just a reminder that there's not much time left. There's not a lot of episode time left. We need to speed this up a little bit. There needs to be more. I thought with the reveal of the game board, it was going to be more dramatic. Like, okay, that game board is probably like the most expensive prop they've ever had. It's the most elaborate thing, and it looks amazing. But so far, it's been pretty tame. Like, whenever Spencer first played it, and you were like, oh my god, what's Spencer gonna have to do? And it was like, visit Toby in the hospital, and it was like, what? Like, I was expecting some, like, big, more dramatic thing. I feel like A has made them do way worse things before in the past for a lot less. So for her to just, like, go visit Toby in the hospital and it was, like, totally fine, like, I don't really know what that was. That was kind of boring. And then the whole Emily thing this episode, I don't really know what that was. Yeah, they just sort of, like, the whole Emily thing, I'm not really sure where this is coming from at all. Guys, the last episode was just kind of confusing. I was like, who is this Addison girl? Why is she blackmailing Emily? What is happening? Like, what? It didn't really make sense to me. It felt really, like, it felt like it didn't need to be there at all. Like, I don't know why half of this episode was dedicated to Emily dealing with that teenage girl, because I was like, what is this? And whenever Emily got the puzzle piece, I was like, why did she get the puzzle piece? What did she do? Like, she literally did nothing. Like, Can someone explain to me what's happening? Because I don't know. So yeah, Pretty Little Liars has just been kind of meh recently. I hope things pick up as the episodes go on. Like, Hannah was locked in that tiny room and she got terrorized, and AD was like, wait your turn, bitch. And that kind of was like, okay, so is Hannah's thing going to be more dangerous? Like, what's Hannah's turn in the board? Like, I need this board game to like pick up and be more fun or more exciting, because so far it's been like the worst board game in the world. Another thing that has been kind of confusing about the board game in general is how they know which liar is playing the game. I mean, I guess AD sort of provokes one of them to like play the game, so like kind of started off with Spencer. Obviously I think that AD would know that Spencer was going to be the first one to play because she already had all these questions about her mother and stuff. So AD was like, come play the game, and obviously she did. So I guess that's how AD kind of knows who's playing the game. They provoke that person to take their turn. So I guess that's kind of how AD knows what's happening. How they knew that Hannah was about to take their knife to the game, I have no idea how they knew that, but like, there's something there. I read on Tumblr that people think that Lucas made the game, which is very possible because, you know, Lucas is really tech savvy, so it's like, oh, it must be him. And if it's not him, then it's Caleb, because those are the only two people that seem to know how to work a computer real good these days. Aside from Mona. Mona could also be part of this. I noticed that she wasn't on the board either. So maybe Mona. Mona has actually been acting kind of strange lately on the show, I feel. I mean, she's like really into helping Hannah with her fashion thing. And there's just something about Mona right now that I'm not sure how to feel. I feel like she's definitely like still playing a part in AD's game. I feel like she's still part of the A team in some way. Like, for me, Mona's behaviors lately have not really been Mona. I don't really know. Like, whenever she confronted Jenna in this episode, I didn't really feel like she was being herself. I just felt like there was something a little bit off about it or something. I don't know. Not that I'm saying we haven't seen Mona act like this before. Like, way back in the earlier seasons, this was kind of the Mona she was, but there's just something different about it now, and I'm not really sure what it is. So if she's still part of the game, which I'm pretty sure she is, that's great. Haven't even really talked about Jenna. Jenna coming back I thought was going to be more dramatic than it was. Obviously, we saw her being kidnapped by AD before we went on hiatus, and then AD gave her like this huge manual at the end of the first episode, like last week's episode, Endgame. So obviously what I think is happening is that AD sent Jenna out into the world, like, to rehearse her script, being like the victim, being like, Noel was gonna kill me too, I bought a gun to protect myself. And it's like, what person in their right mind like lets a blind girl buy a gun? I don't know, but like, she's spun this really pathetic story in front of the police and in front of Spencer. How she knew that Spencer was the one in the room from her breathing, I have no idea. Someone on Tumblr says that they think that Jenna can see. Like, this is a thing that I guess has been ongoing in the show, like, this entire time, but like, the whole thing is that Jenna's been pretending to be blind this whole time, apart from that brief period in like season 3 when she got the eye surgery and she could see, and people were like, okay, she can see. So like, there is a real possibility that she can actually see, because I don't know how she could tell it was Spencer from her breathing, like, at all. I don't understand. But yeah, like, definitely I think AD sent Jenna into the police station to spin that story. And also, I'm not really sure what's with Jenna's blind posse. Like, Jenna just showing up with these 2 blind people with her. What's that about? I don't know. And then obviously, like, whenever she like wears the same design as Hannah's dress, except in white, which looked horrible in white, by the way, but like, whenever Jenna shows up wearing Hannah's dress but in white, it's like, there's something about that too. Like, did AD know about the dress? And someone on Tumblr also pointed out that that's maybe how Mona's connected to A, because Mona knew what kind of dress that Hannah was like designing, so she like could have given it to Jenna. I don't really know. I feel like a lot of what I'm saying isn't really making sense, but you know, that's kind of Pretty Little Liars in a nutshell. Nothing really ever makes sense. But But yeah, so Jenna's back. She's got a blind posse. Not really sure what's going on there. The outfit that she showed up at the police station wearing was actually really nice. I really like that. I would totally wear that coat. But yeah, I don't really know what's happening. Obviously, AD is using Jenna. I'm not really sure what else is going to come of that, but I guess we just see what happens. We haven't talked about Arya and Holden yet. I'm not really sure why Holden has randomly come back, other than the fact that Pretty Little Liars is really pushing for these old characters to come back. And I can kind of understand why they're doing that, because it is like so close to the end of the show that they kind of want to bring back all these old characters. I mean, it was a similar thing in Vampire Diaries. You know, they kind of showed like all the old characters again. But with Pretty Little Liars, I feel like they're just really pushing it, like really trying. Like whenever they brought in Sydney for that one episode in season 6 randomly to place old Jenna, I was like, why is Sydney there? Why is she still relevant? I don't know. They also mentioned her in like the last episode. Not really sure why they keep mentioning Sydney. I still don't even fully remember why she was even part of the show at all. Like, I recently did rewatch the show, and like seeing Sydney there and then suddenly disappear, you kind of forget about her, and it's like, why was she even there? What was the point? Like, so I don't really know why they're bringing up these old characters. But Holden is not a chef, and he's going to apparently help Arya plan her wedding. Even though Arya doesn't seem to know if there is a wedding or not, because Ezra's just been AWOL recently, which kind of sucks. Honestly, at this point, it's like, why is Ezra still together? Because it doesn't even feel like they're together. I don't know why they're pushing this. Which is kind of sad, because you guys know, like, I love all the ships on Pretty Little Liars. I do ship them a lot, but the way they are doing this Ezra thing right now, it's like, well, maybe Arya should dump Ezra. Maybe she should just, like, marry someone better. You know, like, Holden said it, like, it's a toxic relationship, and everyone on Tumblr is saying it. Like, literally everyone in the fandom was like, Arya, break up with Ezra, because it's not going anywhere, and he's like being disrespectful and rude to Arya by not like telling Nicole like he's engaged to Arya. Like, I know that Nicole just got back from being kidnapped, and Ezra's just trying to be there for her because he loved her, but you know, at the same time, it's like, well, you love Arya, so you should, you know, decide. So yeah, there's that. Like I said, we still really haven't gotten any answers in the last 2 episodes, even though they promised us answers every episode. I was waiting to see when there would be answers, but there hasn't. It does seem, maybe, that AD's going to step up their game, but I don't really know. I'm not really sure what to expect. I don't really know what's going to happen. I do hope that they manage to somehow make this all better and wrap this show up in a really good way. Like, I really do hope that they can pull this together, and like, I guess I feel this way about the endings of all my shows. Like, when I know that a show is coming up to the end, I'm always like, okay, but how are they going to wrap it up? How are they going to do this in such a way that it's going to be a good ending? Because, I mean, I keep bringing up Vampire Diaries, but that's because it's like one of the shows I've been watching that recently ended. Like, with Vampire Diaries, I was the same. I was like, how are they going to wrap this up in, like, 8 episodes? I had no idea, but it was a different kind of thing, because in Vampire Diaries, they kept adding to it. They kept being like, oh, this is happening, but also this is happening. How are they going to get out of this situation? It was that kind of thing where they, like, had a really rapid timeline, and everything was just, like, going. It was non-stop. Whereas with Pretty Little Liars, it's like, I don't know how they're going to wrap this all up, because they're going so slow. So I feel like there's something that needs to change because it's going too slow. And yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm at a loss. I'm hoping for the best. Obviously, I'm still going to watch the show. I can't give up now. Like, 8 episodes left. We do have a 2-hour finale, but if it turns out that 2-hour finale is going to give us all the answers, rather than having them spread out, it's not going to be good. I feel like they always do this. Like, whenever Allison came back after the girls thought, like, she was dead, and then it was like, oh my god, she's not dead. And whenever Allison, like, sits down and explains to the girls everything that happened to her in that one episode, it was a lot. And a lot of people on Tumblr were able to poke holes in Allison's story just like that, like, plot holes galore. And it's the same thing whenever we, like, found out that Charlotte was A. Like, again, we found out a lot of answers in one episode, and a lot of people were like, wait a second, this timeline doesn't make sense. Like, there were problems with it. Didn't make any sense. And if they do the same thing in this 2-hour finale, where we find out who AD is and we get all the answers, it's not going to be good. And I want more for the show. I think it deserves better. There needs to be a better ending than, like, just 2 straight hours of, like, finding out all this information all in one go. Because that's basically what they've done the last times they've had reveals, and I'm not okay with that. Like, I feel like we need more than that. Because the show has raised way more questions than it's ever answered, so if they could just hurry up and give us those answers, that would be great. But until then, I guess we just still keep watching and hoping that something gets better or something changes. And yeah. Other than that, I'm not really sure what to say. I feel like I covered everything I needed to. Like I said, I'm not really sure if anything I said made sense, but you can get where I'm coming from. The show right now is kind of boring. I need it to pick up. It needs to be better. Like, normally when I watch a Pretty Little Liars episode, anytime I watch any Pretty Little Liars episode, I'm kind of just sitting there going along with it, like, this is fine. But whenever I go onto Tumblr afterwards and I actually have time to, like, think about it, I tend to change my opinion about it a lot. I'm like, actually, Tumblr users / the Pretty Little Liars fandom makes a lot of good points. Like, there's a lot of things that we are waiting for, and honestly, before I go on Tumblr, I forget that there's only, like, 8 episodes left of the show. Like, before I go on Tumblr and I think about it, like, I don't think that there's only 8 episodes left. Like, with the way that they're going, it still feels like we have a whole season ahead of us, but no, we don't, and that's not cool. Honestly, I think the most exciting thing that happened, like, recently was maybe, like, Jenna having a gun, and also, like, the dollhouse. That was pretty exciting as far as, like, the show goes. Other than that, like, everything's been pretty boring, kind of casual. Still waiting to find out what Noel had to do with anything, and also, like, Sarah Harvey, like, we still need explanations for that, and, like, just a bunch of other stuff, guys. I don't really know what to say. I'm just kind of like, well, this show. Anyway, I'm gonna go, because otherwise I'm going to keep rambling, and the more I'm rambling, the more I know that it doesn't make any sense. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments below what you think of Pretty Little Liars and the last 2 episodes. Do you think the show is going at a good enough pace for it being, like, the last few episodes ever, or do you also think that they need to pick up the pace because we need more answers? And yeah. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.